Hello, Olatunji Shobodu is my name. Welcome to Leadership Monday. Welcome to Leadership Monday. It is great to be skilled, but it is better to be smart. It's wonderful to go after skill, but after skill, it's important to upgrade to smartness. Today, I'll be speaking on Leadership Monday, handing to you another nugget that will help you do leadership right by speaking on the subject why your capacity to lead is limited. Why your capacity to lead is limited. So you may be asking yourself, why am I limited in my capacity to lead? Why can't I lead beyond a certain level? Why can't I get the kind of impact that some other people are getting? Despite all my efforts, it appears that things are not just falling into place for me. Never mind, you would most likely get a perspective that could be of help to you as we discuss this morning. So, what do we mean? Many of us pursue after skill. We invest a great deal acquiring skills, including leadership skills. And that's great. It's fantastic to go after skill. You need to be skillful. Being skilled is a source of leverage for you to achieve a certain of your objectives in life. However, don't be limited to skill because skill has limitations. Let me show you some of the limitations, and I think it will strike you. And when you look at Ecclesiastes 9 and verse 11, remember this comes to you on the platform of Emmet Leadership Academy. At Emmet Leadership Academy, we nurture leaders based on truth. So if you've been following me, if you've been subscribed, if you're a subscriber to my YouTube channel, or you've attended any of our programs, you know the perspective that we bring to bear on the subject of leadership. All right, so let's look at what these reference scripture says. And it's a popular one, but maybe the profound nature of this statement has not dawned on you as yet. But what it says is this: it says, look, there is something that I have observed. Now, it was Solomon talking, is acknowledged as the wisest king who has ever lived, possibly the richest king who has ever lived. And he said, look, I observed something, and it's quite strange. And it would appear that even I, as a man of wisdom, all right, I'm limited, and I'm limited to the extent of this discovery. What is it? He understood that he was limited by his inability to handle situations of uncertainty. What do we mean? He said, I observe that the race is not to the swift, the battle is not to the strong. He said, and bread doesn't go to men who are wise. I observe that men who have understanding do not become rich. I also observed that men who are skilled are not necessarily favored. That is, they do not necessarily enjoy favor. Why? He said, because time and chance happens to all of them. Time and chance happens to all of them. That means that's not to say that it's not important to be skillful. It's not to say that speed is not relevant. It's not to say that strength should not be engaged for battle. It's not even to say that wisdom is not important for you to put bread on your table. What he was saying is that all of those elements will not guarantee the results that you desire. That there are situations that will happen that will make your effort look as if is either irrelevant or is inadequate, in which case you do not get the results that you desire. And that may be what you're experiencing as a leader. Yes, you're doing the right thing. Yes, you're skillful. But here we are told that your skill has limitations. Your skill has limitations. Why? Your capacity to lead is limited is because your skill has limitations. You're a skillful leader, and perhaps you have plenty of technical skills. You may even have some leadership skills. However, it's limited to the extent that you're unable to get the results that you desire, that you're unable to produce results that some others are producing, that you're unable to produce results that you believe are relevant, should be the result of your effort. It can be pretty frustrating. But what this profound statement is showing us is that there is a limit to your wisdom, is that there is a limit to your skill. All right. What does skill entail? Skill is the kind of thing that, empowers you to know. Let me use a very basic example. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Skill is about a commitment to the practice of proven principles. All right. So, principles are proven. I mean, if a farmer goes to the farm and the farmer knows what to do, knows the seed to plant. If he wants certain outputs, he knows the process to follow. He's been trained. He's skillful in it. But does he always get result? No. There will be times that he does all of that and the results do not come together. He puts in all the effort, makes all the investment, and some things are just out of course. Maybe it's the weather that simply changes. Maybe he discovers that something he hadn't taken note of in the ground is suddenly contending with his efforts and undermining his ability to produce results. When you are committed to principle, to the implementation of principle, to that process that guarantees that when you put this input, you would get this result, it can be limited if you don't have a fuller understanding of how principles work. It can be pretty limited. So you can be limited by principle. And that's the issue with people who are skilled. That's the issue with people who are trained in particular areas. There are people who typically have been trained to operate by principle. But we are seeing that principles are limited. Why? Because principles are typically abstractions of how certain things work. They often don't capture 100% of all that could affect a particular process and that could produce a particular result. They do a great job of explaining the more predominant process of how things work. But those things that they leave out can still undermine the efforts. It can make principle look as if they do not work. That's what Solomon was saying to us here. So be careful how you rely on skill. And so my challenge is that it's important to be smart, not just to be skilled. You need to move to a higher level of competence, which is smartness, not skill. Smartness, not skill. Skill can fail, but the truly smart person will not fail. Why? Because when skills fails, the smart person knows what next to do to mitigate whatever factor is making skill to fail. All right? And so the smart is not as though it doesn't refer to people who are not skilled. It refers to people who have upgraded themselves from the level of skillfulness to the level where they have the capacity to manage uncertainty. Because uncertainty can undermine principle. Uncertainty can frustrate principle. But the one who is smart understands that there is a factor of uncertainty, that when you have done everything, and people often say it, I even had it recently, it probably got me thinking about this issue. They say, look, I've done everything that I know to do. I've done everything, that I'm expected to do, yet I'm not getting results. Yes, it is true. And that experience is not strange. All you need to understand is how things truly work. That you can do everything that you need to do and still not get results. Why? Because there's something going on that you are not mindful of. And if you're mindful of it, you are not prepared to manage it. That's the limitation of your skill. And to that extent, you are not smart enough to handle that situation. Let me give you another illustration. If you look at what happened with Jesus in Mark chapter 9 and 28 to 29, all right, something took place. His disciples had been handling a situation before. I mean, people had been going to them, taking their sick persons, their possessed persons to them, and they were handling it. We know that because of what they said. But there was one instance that a man took his son to them and they could not handle it. They couldn't cast out, the demon. A situation, a problem presented themselves, a challenge came, such that looked like something they've always known how to do, they've dealt with in the past, but in this particular instance, they fell flat on their face. They were embarrassed. The limitations of their skill was exposed in this particular situation. Let's cut the long story short. And so this guy had to go above them and went to Jesus himself, went to their leader and said, look, your people have looked at this situation. They could not deal with it. Please help me. And what did their master do? Their master promptly sorted that matter out. And the guys were amazed that how come, and they asked him after, sir, how come we could not handle this matter? Why did this prove to be different? And he said to them, this kind. So when you are stranded, haven't done everything that you believe you should do, that you know to do, that you have been trained to do, know that the situation that you are facing is this kind of situation. There is this kind of situation, a situation that is thrown up by something that you still do not know. And that makes your efforts look as if you don't know what you're doing. It's not that you don't know what you're doing, it is that you don't know enough to do in that particular situation, because you have a situation suddenly that you weren't expecting. You have a situation where favor is not answering to your skill. So you are limited by this kind of situation. And how do you get over that? He told them, he said, this will not happen except by adding fasting to praying. Now, that's something they had not taken, cognizance of before. So he was operating at the level of smartness. They were operating at the level of skill. And he was saying to them, gentlemen, you need to upgrade yourself from the level of skill to the level of smartness. You need to go for smartness above skill. And that's my charge to you. That's the nugget for you. If you want your leadership to be impactful, if you want to enhance your capacity to lead well and to get good results, to overcome uncertainties that show up in your journey of leadership, you need to upgrade yourself. You need to upgrade yourself from the level of your skills, your dependence on skills, to the level where the skills can fail, where skills can be humiliated, to the level of smartness, where you are truly on top of your game. And how do you upgrade to the level of smartness? Let me show you something. It's about counsel. It's about counsel. The antidote to uncertainty, especially as a leader, is counsel, is access to counsel. It's one of the sweet things about leadership. And it's why, like I wrote recently, there is no man who is self-made. If you find a self-made man, that's a dangerous man. Why? Because we are all built and structured, and the system of the world is designed for me and you to learn from those who have gone ahead of us. Life is supposed to be a continuum. Yes, there is innovation, but innovation thrives on what people have done before, on knowledge that has existed before. It doesn't just show up. It doesn't just show up. So counsel is it. The Bible tells us in the midst of many counselors, there is safety. There is virtually nothing that you can't handle if you have access to credible counsel. Why? Because that which seems to be an uncertain situation, this kind of situation was not strange to Jesus. In fact, he was the one telling them this kind. The people didn't know. They were embarrassed and frustrated. They didn't know. They just knew that here was, an unfortunate situation. They did not know that this kind of situation was facing them, and that this kind of situation has its own solution. And the solution was cheap, because Jesus dealt with that solution cheaply. Cheaply. Why? He had seen that kind of situation before. They hadn't seen it before. They were skilled. They didn't know scenarios that could play out. All right. And so they were limited. Yes, they were skilled, but they were limited until the limitations of their skill was exposed by this kind of situation. By this kind of situation. So suppose they had gone to their master to find out before the other man showed up, they would have been told what to do. They would have received counsel, and they would have been able to handle this kind of situation. They would have become smarter. They would have risen above the limitations of their skill. So you and I need counsel. And that's one of the reasons why leadership is so crucial, why it's so critical. Because you learn from others. Because you have access to counsel. Because you are better prepared so that you are a smart leader, not just a skilled leader. And while we're at it, we have a smart leader program, a 30 days program that you can take at your convenience. It's video based. Every day you get a 30 to 45-minute video, and you can walk through it over 30 consecutive days and upgrade yourself from a skilled leader to a smart leader. Discover certain things about leadership that improves that boosts, that significantly transforms your capacity to lead after the order of what we're discussing today. I would put a link to that program in the comments. So for those who are interested, check it out. 30 days and you would experience a major transformation in your capacity to lead. All right? In your capacity to lead. So counsel is king, and it's wise for you to have access to counsel. And guess what? Experience builds the capacity for counsel. Experience. So when you have counselors, what you gain from them, credible counselors, what you gain from them is not the skill, is not the formula, is not how things are done. You know how things are done. It is how to handle situations that prove different from your knowledge of how things are done. It's that extra that helps you to handle uncertainty. Now, those who have gone ahead of you and I did not learn that from the books. They learned that by picking the experience of those who have been in situations like that ahead of them. So when you are looking for counselors, when you have access to counselors, the value that you are getting, you can't get it from the principles that you have learned. You can't. You can't. Why? Because they possessed it through experience. And guess what? Experience is developed, is built by the twin actions of practice and time, of practice and time. And indeed, access to counsel also, because the one that you are looking forward to counsel you, to help you with this kind situations, also practice, also experience the failures of their skill. All of that happened over time, and they had access to counsel, to people who could tell them, oh, this kind of situation, this is what you must do. All right. These are the things to change. These are aspects of the principle that you did not know. But when you do this, this is the kind of solution that you would get. And those situations are usually not as difficult or as challenging as we would imagine. So there you are. That's the nugget for you today. I want to thank you once again for joining me this morning. Every Mondays, we deliver a nugget that can help you to do leadership right. My name remains Olatunji Shobodu. And I'm glad, by the way, I think last week I said I was going to introduce something. I'm glad that finally I am launching the my new newsletter, and it's called Share. It's called Share. So be on the lookout for it. The newsletter, Leading by Sharing. Is a is by subscription. And again, I will put the link in the description as well as in the comment, so that if you want to join, you can join. The idea behind the newsletter is leading by sharing. And the inspiration comes from 1 John 1 verses 3 to 4, that talks about these things that we have seen and that we have learned. And that's what we declare to you, so that you may also enjoy fellowship with us. It said, and we write it so that our joy may be full, your joy may be full. All right. So the inspiration is that as we receive these deep insights on the subject of leadership direct from the Word of God, we can share it with a sense of urgency, so that you can experience the same thing that we are experiencing. That's the motivation. That's the motivation. But it's a paid subscription, albeit token, but it's so that only those who have value for what we're sharing will partake of it. And also will be able to underwrite the cost, of putting out that initiative. It's called Share Newsletter, and the anchor, the tagline is leading by sharing. And when you subscribe to it, you can use the link that is on the screen, or you can scan the QR code that is on the screen. Also, either way, it will take you to where you can subscribe and line up yourself to get the weekly editions of this newsletter that will be exposing very deep secrets to you, that will continue to empower you in a unique way, all right, in the area of leadership, and also how to succeed in your endeavors in life. And also, when you subscribe, you become a member of the Share community. You become a member of the Share community, and that community has a lot to offer. In that community, you would have access to a video session that I record on every edition. So there is an edition that is written that will be sent out to you by email, and there could be more than one edition every week. But for each edition, there will be a video session just like this, where I go into greater depth to explain the things that are captured in the written edition. And then, of course, within the community that we will carry out through a dedicated platform, you can ask questions, receive direct answers, you can share your immediate circumstances, you can bring your challenge forward, you can leverage counsel, as we have just spoken about, from other members of the community, and that can enhance your ability to succeed in your leadership assignment tremendously. And from time to time, there will be other activities, but you check all of that out when you subscribe. I promise you, it's a worthy uh, initiative just for a token. It promises to be a great blessing to you, very profitable to your life. And even if I say so, but if what you've listened to today, has made an impact on you, it gives you an idea of what to expect from that initiative. If you've subscribed to this channel, if you've listened to previous videos, or perhaps you've even attended, any of our programs, then I think we don't need to speak too much on the quality or the value of what you will be receiving. The benefits are obvious. The benefits are far in excess of any commitment that you are being asked to make. And, you know, what more can one say about coming in the midst of people, who have value to add to your life? Saul came among the group of prophets, and he began to prophesy. So when you come into a community like this, it can do great things for your life, for your growth. It can change, the profile of your destiny. And so I encourage you to go ahead, scan the QR code, or use the link that is scrolling beneath, and become a member of the Share community, receiving the Share newsletter at least once a week, having access to deeper insights in the area of leadership, and also, networking, interacting with others, and taking the associated benefits. Once again, thank you for joining me today. Remember, on Thursday, we'll be on at Leadership in 30 Minutes, and I'll be speaking on the subject, your best track record as a leader. Your best track record as a leader. It's same time on Thursday. Make it a date. I remain Olatunji Shobodu, and it's been Leadership Monday. Enjoy a wonderful week, an impactful week, and do everything to do leadership right. Do everything to do leadership right. God bless you. Bye bye.